Hello everyone, Mrs. E here. I wanted to do a video for you on citing resources since that's something that a lot of students have many questions about. So first, I will talk about MLA. MLA formatting comes from the Modern Language Association, if that interests you, and basically it's just a group that makes the rules for how people will cite information in papers. And in English classes, we follow MLA formatting. There are a few different other types of formatting. I know APA. I think there are a couple other ones, but in English classes, they'll always ask you to cite in the MLA style, and there are really minor differences between the different styles. So a resource I want to point you to for all of your needs when it comes to citing papers and formatting your papers is the Purdue OWL, which is the online writing lab from Purdue University. They have a section for MLA formatting, and it is awesome. It tells you basically everything you want to know and need to know about citing your papers. So first, let's talk a little bit about formatting. In MLA formatting, you need to double space every paper, and it needs to be 12-point font times New Roman. So as you see here, here's one of my essays from this past weekend, 12-point font times New Roman, and it's double spaced. Paragraphs, you do half space indentation and only one space in between paragraphs. You do not double space it. So your whole paper is uniform in that manner. 1-inch margins are required, so make sure that's the case with your papers. But from here on out, just get into the habit of having 12-point font times New Roman, double space. Teachers may have you use Georgia. Some might say Arial or Helvetica, but the most widely accepted is Times New Roman. So I just suggest getting in a habit of always doing that whenever you write a paper in English. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is citing your resources. Some people use EasyBib, and that definitely works, but sometimes I find with EasyBib, they miss certain parts or you don't know all the information you need to put into the citing that resource. And so if you go to the Purdue Writing Lab, let's see here, under books, or they have periodicals or electronic, other common sources. Those are all how to cite different things. So if you just have a book with one author, right here is your basic format: last name, first name, title of book, city of publication, colon, the publisher, comma, year of publication, and then medium. What it means by medium of publication, since so many people use Kindle or online resources now for books, they ask you to put where you found this. So for example, in one of my grad school papers in the past, I read the book on my Kindle. So I wrote Kindle under medium of publication. For most of your books, you're just going to write print. And they give you an example right here of this book, and you can see it says print. Now, for our essays, like another common thing, so if you have a book, there's that. Another common thing is an anthology. If you scroll down, right here is how you would cite a work from an anthology. Actually right here, a work in an anthology. So you would, in parentheses, put the title of that story from the anthology, then in italics, put the title of the anthology and all of the other information. So as you can see on my essay, I had just a work. It was a book, and so it's pretty straightforward. There's the author's name, the title of the book, the city of publication, the publisher, comma, the year, and then it was in print. Next thing I notice a lot of people having difficulty with is knowing when to italicize and when to put quotation marks. Really simple tool I use. If it is a long work, it's italicized. If it is a short work, it's in quotation marks because quotation marks in and of themselves are short. So in mine, I have the book is titled Thomas and Beulah, so that is italicized. We don't underline anymore on when we type things, we want to italicize them. The poem, however, when I want to cite a poem from it, a poem is short, so I use the short punctuation marks, the quotation marks. So if you're doing a short story, that needs to be in quotation marks, always in quotation marks. If you're talking about a longer work, like the title of an anthology or a book or a CD album, CD, you're laughing at me now, an album, those are all italicized because they're longer works. So the last thing then is to talk about in-text citations. So if we go back to the Purdue OWL, you'll see there's a section called MLA In-Text Citations. Okay, so it gives you all of the citation rules you need to follow. And the main thing you need to know is you need to have the author's last name and the page number. And how this works, if you say the author's name in the sentence, for example here, Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was marked by a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, you don't need the author's name, you just write the page number on which you found that information. If you don't mention the author's name, you need to write the author's name and the page number. Now you notice these two actually quote it. This third one, however, even if you paraphrase something from a text, if you do not quote it directly but you paraphrase it, you still need to cite it because you got that information from somewhere. So you'll see the page number in parentheses. The other thing I want to point out, you notice the quotation marks. We do not have a punctuation mark at the end of this quote. Instead, you do quotation marks, parentheses, page number or author and page number, parentheses, and the period goes after the citation. All right? So make sure that you do that whenever you cite information. The last thing I want to say is formatting quotations. If you have a short quotation, it just goes within the regular text. But if you have a long quotation, if you have something that is 4 lines of prose or longer, okay, so 4 lines or longer, it needs to be in block quotations. So you would put a colon, return, and you would do a double tab. You would want 1-inch margins. Okay, so at 1 tab is a 1/2 inch margin, double tab, and the whole quote needs to be formatted like that with the in-text citation at the end. Okay? So I'll show you examples from my work. We have here, let's see, here's a quote. This is poetry, so it's formatted a little differently. We see at the end of the poem, Thomas says when he sees a Zeppelin, he thinks, big boy, I know you're in there. Zeppelin, I need to put the title of the poem, 33 through 34, those are the lines. I also have a block quotation in here so you can see what that looks like. I had 4 lines of the poem, so I needed to indent 1 inch for that quote. All right, so I hope that information clears up some things on formatting. It's a good thing to get in the habit of this because you're definitely going to be running into this, and it's a lot easier if you start practicing it now rather than trying to learn it as you're going along writing your papers in college and that sort of thing. So I hope this was helpful to you. Good luck finishing up your papers. Good luck formatting everything, and we'll see you in class.